Recording complete.
Wow. My God, it's been so long, everybody. So long since I've said this. I'm going to stop the music. Welcome, one and all, to the reset button. It has been, my God, close to 3 years since I've said that. And I can't believe I'm saying it again, but here I am saying it. So, reset button has returned. It's a new format, a new flavor. And what we're doing here is we're bringing some of the best guests that I can bring to you so you can learn about some people that maybe you don't know about. We're going to pick their brains a little bit. And we're going to have some fun today. So who we have right here, maybe you've heard this guy before. Maybe. This is James Ronald, a.k.a. EpicGameMusic. How you doing, bud?
Hey, what's going on? I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Oh, I am so pumped, so thrilled to be doing this once again.
Yeah, you seem like genuinely enthralled. You know, you have so much energy within your bones. You know?
I had the jitters a second ago. I'm like, I'm doing it again.
Everyone always has the jitters before they do something like this. You know what I mean? Like, even if you've done it like a million times, you always have that nervous energy. And then once it starts, it's like, boom, it's just excitement and fun. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's so thrilling. Yeah. So thrilling to be back and just, I know usually when I'm streaming, it's just video games, but to just be back and just talk and broadcast, which is, that's my background, actually. You know, journalism and things like that. And that's something that Tanner and I used to do for a long time. Then Eric and I, now I'm doing this solo for a little bit, but I'll be bringing somebody else later on after we wrap up some different guests. Of course, first is James here. Yeah. Now, if you don't know this man, let's go over some of the things. So maybe I can make you blush a little bit. This man is a music YouTuber with over 8 million views. First time I recall seeing anything from him was on Screw Attack back in, I think, 2012.
Yep. Well,
he's
that's
also
a long time ago now. That's almost a decade, man. Yeah.
Yeah, been doing this for a long time. Also a streamer on the channel Meme Mansion.
Meme Mansion right here.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Also has done some music production for Cinemassacre.com.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say I did the Cinemassacre podcast theme and the Talking About Games theme, and I would do AVGN episodes, do like the score for that and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then probably the biggest, coolest thing you've done recently, Rex Viper.
Yeah, like that came out of nowhere. That is a thing. If you told me that like I'd be in a band with the AVGN James Rolfe, like I would have been like, you're crazy, but it's just a thing that happened. You know what I mean?
I gotta pick your brain on that one just a little bit. So
oh yeah.
I know that James has always been kind of a metalhead. He's talked in videos before about like how he listens to Iron Maiden while he's doing edits. How did you get into this band with James Rolfe? How did this happen?
Like, I don't know how far back I should take this, because like me and him would run into each other at conventions. Like, you know, at first I was just like, you know, a fan of his, and I'd be like, hi, and then he's a super nice guy, so he'd stop and talk to me. And then like once I became like a YouTuber, I would get invited to these like YouTube parties, and then I'd get to like pick his brain over like a drink or something like that. And then, you know, we'd sort of bond over music and stuff like that. And then he checked out my channel, and then he was like, oh, hey, can you make this cover for this episode or like that? So we started to get into a point where we were like doing this for the Angry Video Game Nerd. And like that was pretty mind-blowing to begin with. And so like I think before the pandemic, or wait, maybe it was during, anyways, whatever. So whenever the new Top Gun movie was announced, he said, okay, we got to do cover of Mighty Wings, right? And we'll release it during you know, when the movie comes out, which I don't think it's still come out yet to this day. I think it's been like delayed that much that like it was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think it's come out either.
Yeah. So like yeah, they're really waiting on that one because it's been done for a long time. But yeah, so yeah, he's like, okay, let's do a cover. I'll play guitar because I love, I've been working on like riffs and practicing and I've been getting good. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so we got together some people, and I think that's when the pandemic hit. So it was just like people online, some like people we knew, but people that like weren't from where we are. Like he's from like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that type of like area, and I'm
Hmm.
from like Toronto, Canada. And so like we were just recruiting random people to do this cover, uh just doing it like just over the internet. People would record their parts, so that was kind of challenging. um and so and it was well received once we finished it, and then we were like, you know what, let's make a band. Let's do this, let's make this into a thing. um because like the pandemic at that point was like going like full force, so like we had nothing better to do anyways, right? Like, we couldn't go out and see our friends or whatnot, so we were just like, all right, so let's still be creative and do that. But yeah, and then it just sort of like it was like this rolling snowball of just like, all right, just ideas and mashing up covers, and I don't know, it's just crazy. Like, yeah.
It sounds it. It sounds just like just the wildest dream that I've seen your videos for a long time, and then I knew that again James was a fan of music, but I didn't know he was jamming guitar in the background. I don't think anyone except maybe Mike or other people close to him knew that. Then all of a sudden, bam! Here's a band, Rex Viper. And like you said, there's a big challenge because James is pretty far away from you. Take
Yeah.
me through how you guys were able to basically overcome that. Were you the producer? Did you figure all that out?
Yeah, so like, yeah, I did the producing and I did the arranging. So like I would make a MIDI file, and like which is like the basic music language, when you hear old school video game music that is so minimal, like that's basically the same as MIDI, you know.
Hmm.
So I would give people an outline, and then I'd have, the drummer do their stuff first, and then I'd sort of adjust the drums and make sure, they're not going crazy. And then I'd get the bass, and the bass is done by I don't know if you know Square Painter from
No, no.
Screw Attack. He was on the Screw Attack store for a long time, and then he was on the Retroware store. He's a very, very good painter. He paints like pixel art.
Oh, rock on.
Yeah, yeah. So he's playing bass. And then, I got for vocals, I don't know if you know this band called Villainist.
Hmm.
They're from here, right here in Toronto, and I know the lead singer quite well, and I just said, hey, you have a really good voice, you'd be perfect for this. And so I'd get his input on the vocals, and then we do rhythm guitar, James Rolfe, and yeah, so then I'd like layer like 50 lead guitars, because like at that point it would at that point it was like I didn't consider that we'd be playing it live. So, I'm just gonna go nuts on this.
Just
With
overproduce it to the moon.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just go and see what happens. Um, but yeah, well, like the challenging part about doing this is you're getting the parts in. And like normally when you're playing in the same room, maybe someone speeds up a bit and then you all speed up. Or maybe someone creates like a super cool moment where they, where they do this crazy hi-hat thing and then everyone joins in on that. Um and that's the cool thing about being in this, like playing live music with people. Over the internet, when you're all doing it separately, someone will have that one really cool moment where they did something like that, but because you didn't record it at the same time, everyone like won't be playing to that. So you sort of have to adjust the performance just a little bit. Just be like, maybe I'll raise the volume of this to match that so it creates that sort of live sound, you know? and
right.
just things like that. Yeah.
Kind of make sure it doesn't sound like an anomaly in the composition.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't sound like a mistake, or like just capitalize, like just utilize the performance that I'm given just to make like cool moments, and just make it sound like rock and roll,
Right. Rock on. Rock on. Yeah, really quick. I see some folks in the chat, first time viewers. I just
Oh
want
yeah.
to say, hey, I see you. I'm just focusing on everything here. So don't think I'm ignoring you. Don't think I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's hard, like, because I'm somewhat of a streamer myself. It's hard to keep track of talking and talking to the chat at the same time. You know what I mean? You have to internalize what they're saying as well as continue what you're doing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. It's you got to find that sweet spot, that balance.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially when it comes to something like this,
Yeah.
where we're not talking about news anymore, that can be difficult.
Yeah. Well,
But
gaming
go ahead.
news, I bet, like, yeah, that, like, how would you be doing it differently today than like back then?
Oof. Yeah, because when I was doing Screw Attack News, that was a bit rough. A lot of the times you had to just run off of press releases. And I mean, E3 was the big one. That's when we were sitting back going, oh yeah, we're gonna get our feel today. And now there really isn't an E3.
Yeah.
It would have to just be daily videos. I don't think a stream like this would really work with that anymore.
Yeah, because like it seems like it drips out just gradually,
That's the number one thing I've told people before, because I know I'm no Jason Schreier. I get that. But the thing I can tell anybody who wants to get into gaming news, I'm going to flip over to me real quick, then we'll get back to James.
Yeah.
Anybody who is considering gaming news, the bit of advice I can give you is you're going to find a winding, lonely road out there. And what I mean by that is whenever you're covering a beat, which that's just like your subject, we call it a beat. Whenever you're covering that beat, if you don't have someone who's willing to talk to you, you don't have news. And I can tell you right now that they aren't willing to talk to you. That's why the Switch Pro, you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I knew that was fake. Yeah. I don't know why everybody else thought it wasn't, but I know you were assigned a Nintendo rep whenever you start writing news. Mm-hmm. That rep is not going to tell you anything they're not cleared to tell you.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the Switch Pro came from, but I knew it was ridiculous.
Well, I guess it was a combination of wishful thinking and just like random leaks, which come from wishful thinking anyways. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we got one person asking you to get a little closer to the microphone.
All right. Let me. Do you want me to turn the mic up? Is that?
That might be it. That might be okay. Yeah.
All right. Hold on 1 second.
Well, we'll go ahead and turn that mic up, and then that person can keep eating all the pizza. Eat all that pizza.
There we go. Is that better?
I think it is. I thought you were good to begin with, but let's make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Here's one that I really wanted to pick your brain about, and I wanted to pick your brain on this one since I first came up with this concept of bringing the reset button back.
Okay.
So I don't think I'm telling anybody anything they don't already know. That episode of AVGN has been out for a while.
Yeah.
But if that was the final episode of AVGN, it would be fine in my book.
Yeah.
I've been watching since inception. If that was it, perfect. I'm fine with it. So the thing I have to ask you is, if we went with that scenario and said, that's it, AVGN is over, how does it feel to be the guy who played out the credits and ended AVGN?
Well, like, okay, so like, I don't know the answer to that question myself, right? So that's how actually I was going about it. And I think just from the description that I was given on like how the feel should be, that was just the reality. Like, I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but I'm just like, okay, coming from that musical standpoint, I have to like send everyone off, regardless if it's true. I don't know if it's true, but that was hard. Like I thought about it a lot. I put more effort than I put into the music for a lot of things, simply because Like, you know, I'm a big AVGN fan myself. I've been watching for like since early YouTube, right? Because he was the first guy to have like a show, right? A proper
Yeah.
show. Like YouTube used to be like, dude getting hit in the groin by a football, you know, and cute cats.
Yeah,
But you,
yeah, different things like that.
yeah, but you would come back to him every week, and it would be like, damn, this is like TV, but on YouTube. So yeah, that was a lot of weight on my shoulders. So it was no small task, but like I meticulously went through other like movie credits music. Really what was wanted was when you play all these old school games that are especially maybe really hard, or even, you know, Mario World has good music, or you know, whatever, the ending credits theme give you a sense of accomplishment, and it's almost a nostalgia that's brought back, even though you've just been playing the game, but it, you know, feels like it's a long road that you've walked, and you're walking back through it.
Mhm.
So that was the type of energy that was being uh that I was going for, and that we were talking about doing. And so I hope that came across.
Oh, it
Um
definitely had the we're walking hand in hand down memory lane kind of feel.
yeah, exactly. Like, you know, like Mega Man 2 ending credits, and you know, just things like that. Like, so everyone feels that they're satisfied. You know what I mean? Like, this is for you. So, but like that was stressful to work on though, right?
Oh,
Because
I
like,
could imagine.
because if you fuck that up, you know what I mean? Like, and you
The
know,
whole internet hates you now. It's over.
yeah, exactly. And like that's no small audience too. Like and those people are fucking passionate. I'll tell you that much. Like the AVGN fans, holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, definitely. I know when I first heard that, you put it on your Facebook, and
Yeah.
I listened to the track. Of course, for anybody who hasn't listened to it, first off, shame on you. Why are you here? Second, it starts with the ending from Mario 2.
Yeah.
And the part, of course, it starts off with the melody, and then it goes into your guitar.
Mhm.
And the one thing I've noticed in your version versus, and I listened to a shit ton of other versions before I decided to talk about this today, is that bass. It's
Yes.
sort of menacing that kicks back in the background. I'm like, ooh,
Because like,
ooh, this is good.
yeah, because like, I don't know. I sort of get that vibe. Like, spoiler alert for Mario 2, you know, it's a dream, and it's sort of like that feeling sort of disassociative. So I wanted to give something of that, like something to like pull you out of this. Also the thing that made me put that thing is I just seen the new Dune movie. So like that Hans Zimmer score like had a lot of that
Oh,
type of like, I will the layman's terms is they're called brams, you know, that
mm,
really like farty almost distorted brass type of like sound.
right.
Yeah, but like, although like I am not the biggest fan of Dune, but I really like that movie, but that's a whole separate conversation altogether. But like, and also very good music. Yeah.
Well, it was an excellent choice because as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, shit, does that mean that it's over? Because
Yeah.
it sounded like that finality to it. And
Yeah.
then when I saw the credits,
Mhm.
mind blown.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, it has that good like you know, that's the other reason why it works. It has a good counterpoint to the like happy like do do do
Mhm.
do do, where it's just like boom. It's like, get ready,
Yeah.
motherfuckers, you know. Get ready for this.
Well, you succeeded completely on that. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wind back just a little bit here because I'm interested, and I'm sure there's a few other people that showed up here tonight, they're interested too.
Mm.
The origin of the Epic Game Music Project. What started all this? What is the
Okay.
cause of all that's going on today?
All right. So okay, so to put it at one point, so I was in this band called Delinquents, and like I had been in Delinquents since I was in like high school, and then like the lead singer and I got it to the point where we were like a touring band now, and that sounds pretty big, but there's a lot of touring bands you probably never heard of. It's just sort of a career choice. Like you can make your job going from town to town playing music. It doesn't mean like we were like crazy rock stars, like, you know, throwing motorcycles out of hotel windows or something like that. It was just
Right.
sort of we had enough of a following that it was a job. And like we started like pre MySpace, and then like MySpace was our introduction to online, and then like the band sort of ended after that, so we didn't really get digitized too well. um but yeah, so the like the band ended. I did it for like 10 years, and
Oh, wow.
I was like, what am I gonna do now, you know? Because like that's all I know, that's all I knew how to do. um and like, you know, every here and there, of course, you have to like get like a shitty job if you're in a touring band, because like it's not always touring season, you know. um and maybe you have an off year or whatnot, but like uh yeah, I was like, all right, so I you know I have this musical urge to do something. And so like YouTube came out, and I saw like people like Mystery Guitar Man, and I guess like Pomplamoose Music back in the day, like OG YouTubers, Rhett and Link, back when they were doing
Hmm.
like their Facebook song, and like
Oh,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, all types of crazy stuff like that. And then there were these old school like video game cover artists. uh I don't know if you remember, I don't know if anyone would. Do you know like Caleb Elijah?
Oh, that I don't remember that name. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, no one probably would, because like, okay, so video game covers at one point on YouTube used to just fill like one page, or two pages. You type in video game covers, and you'd be like, oh, there's only 20. Um, but yeah, so I started to post my own music, that was mine, that was personally written. And then I ran into people doing video game covers. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I started to post just a couple of things. I think I called it like James Ronald versus like Elec Man or something like that. And like it was really well received, and like people sort of like sought me out from it. Like YouTube, like direct messages used to be a big thing. And there used to be like
Right.
community groups, and
Hmm.
so like people seemed really interested in it. And so I'm like, okay, well, this might become a thing. Like this is something I love, video game music. So I'll just do more of this. And it snowballed and it snowballed. And I just like started making these video game covers. More people like it. And then I joined the Screw Attack community. And I think it was during the Screw Attack community that it actually went from uh just me doing covers just aimlessly to it being Epic Game Music. So that then, because I was like, okay, well, it's because I saw all the shows on Screw Attack, and I'm like, actually, like what I'm doing, I think, is more of a show than it is just a music artist thing, because it's like I'm making music videos. Um, but I think the moment where it was named Epic Game Music was actually Tommy Tellerico. I sent him on Facebook. I sent him like one of my covers, and he said, "Oh, well, this is some epic game music," and I'm like, "Boom, there it is." Like,
That's
there's the name
simple.
for this. So
There you
yeah,
go.
it's a show called Epic Game Music. Yeah.
That sounds perfect. I remember when you first showed up around Screw Attack. I think it was 2012 is when I first saw you.
Yeah.
For anybody who's watching right now, I'm sure you know who James is. Maybe you're not familiar with me. I went by the name Debaser when I was there. I started as a moderator, then I became an administrator for Screw Attack, then I became one of the news writers. So I was actually one of the people that was promoting James's videos on the front page.
Oh yeah, well there you go. Yeah.
Very familiar with the stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Screw Attack like was integral for my growth, like not just because of community, well, not just only because
Hmm.
of community. Community was like the biggest part, but like just having like it out there like that, like legitimized it so much that people are like, oh yeah, that's the guy from Screw Attack. Or the first convention I ever did, uh the guy said, it's like, oh yeah, well, I watched Screw Attack and I've seen you on the front page. And like I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you know, like that's because like that's like Screw Attack was those like sort of golden gates. It's like, okay, so like if you're uh like we only promote stuff that's like at a certain level, I guess.
That's what
And
I was striving for.
yeah, yeah. And so like you knew it was good no matter what when you logged on that front page. So like at the time, like the first time I got like front page, like that was like, you know what I mean? Like my mind was blown by that. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I was happy to promote you, man.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
can not say how many good YouTubers I saw in there going on to have great careers. Peanut Butter Gamer started at Screw Attack. Saw a lot of Metal Jesus Rocks over at
Metal
Screw
Jesus
Attack.
Rocks. Like, well, Pat.
Absolutely. My God, that's like the completionist. Yes.
Yeah.
So many great talents started there. So
yeah,
no wonder.
Yeah, it's almost like of everyone who's like core to YouTube, almost like if not started there, but they were like featured there. Which, you know, makes me wonder what do people do now? You know what I mean? Like because like where is the community now? Like where do communities go to grow like that, you know?
You know, that's an interesting question. And I think, unfortunately, the answer is there really isn't one. We're having a .com decline. Yeah. There's not too many .coms you go to anymore. Forums aren't really that big of a thing. You have to trust in the YouTube algorithm. And I can tell you, it's not a kind creature.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah, well, that's it. No, fuck, I know that. Like, no, yeah, it's just like media that's blasted at your face now. You know what I mean? And you're like, I don't like that. Ooh, that's interesting. You know, it's like a hit or miss, but for everything. It's like someone's like shooting like a potato gun at your head rapidly. You know, and you're like, oh, that was cool. Like, you know.
I want to ask you really quick because I was listening to some of your music earlier and showing it to my fiance so she could get an idea of who you are. Yeah. I saw that there's a new album.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just did a new album. It's called Pink Ball Zone. So it's both a combination of Sonic music and Kirby music. Because why not?
Why not?
Well, like, no, they're both very identifiable
right.
like characters, but also their music style, like all Kirby music generally has the same style, and so does Sonic. But it's such a weird, like they're so polar opposites as far as music. Like Sonic is really like not discordant, but it's like really like interesting, almost jazzy music, even if it doesn't sound like it. And Kirby is just like straight up, this is pop music, major chord bangers. So mixing those two together sounded interesting for an album. So yeah. And my wife did the art, which she knocked it out of the park. It's like
I saw that.
Yeah, so the concept is like Kirby like licked one of those sloppy Sonic popsicles. And
yeah, where the eyes just melt off.
Yeah, and just sort of like became one, you know, he has like the hat, you know, it's sort of like Smash Brothers.
yeah, that was beautiful. I was showing that to her and I said, yeah, that's funny. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we talked about a lot about YouTube. We're going to switch over to the Twitch. I want to know some more because I haven't had a chance to catch any of these streams yet. Pretty busy guy myself. I want to know more about that T-shirt you're wearing there, sir.
Oh yeah, so this is the Meme Mansion T-shirt. So yeah, my friend AJ and I, like, we've been like best friends for like many years. And we started to make a YouTube channel. Which, you know, it was a let's play channel, us playing games, but it was such a pain in the ass to do, creating like a large amount of content, and like the let's play whole sphere is like so bloated, especially like now. Well, now it's kind of chilling out because like everyone sort of gave up on it. Um, and so we were thinking like, okay, so it's not really gaining that much traction, but we like doing this. It's a fun activity we do together. And then so the decision is like, let's go to Twitch so we don't have to edit anything, you know, and then we can interact with people live just right there, you know. And so yeah, we're just we're a variety streamer channel. We'll like play whatever, but we like to put like interesting spins on things, like 2-player, 1 controller, or just anything like interesting and stuff like that. But yeah, shout out to everyone who's here from the meme mansion. I see like AJ is there. So
Yeah, I see all sorts of people hopping up in here and saying, hey, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate it.
yeah,
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, and everyone should follow and sub.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, I wished Screw Attack, just really quick, I see that. I wish it remained on its own as well. The one thing I've said over and over again, and I'll keep saying it till I'm in the earth, if for whatever reason Rooster Teeth decided that they wanted to do a news division and they put Sean Hines in charge of it, I'm there. Yeah. I love Sean Hines.
Sean Hines is a super nice man. Oh my God.
He was the best boss I've ever had.
Oh yeah.
Loved him.
I don't even know. I just knew him on a personal level, but what was he like to work with?
Oh, he was fantastic. Most of the time he trusted me to just do what needed to be done.
Yeah.
And then there was some wild times where stuff was just like, he would call me right afterwards. Should I tell this story? I probably should.
It's fun after the fact, you know.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name anymore because it's been ages. I'm bad with names anyway. But the creator of Fez.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was the time where he apparently went on 4chan and went on a tirade and just lost his mind on people.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the studio and I asked them, you know, because I can't run things without at least getting a quote from them. That's what we're taught in journalism. So I asked them, was that him? Does he have a response? And they sent back something just nasty as fuck to me. They're like, well,
really?
You know, we thought no idiot would fall for something like this, but clearly they had because you're messaging us. Sean Hines immediately called me and he said, are you running that? I said, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Put that up on there. They sent an apology later. I did not publish the apology.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Why would you like? Like you're doing your due diligence. You know what I mean? Like, and like,
yeah,
and like, yeah. Oh, Phil Fish, was that his name?
Phil Fish. There you go.
That was it. Okay. Yeah, he's a DJ now in Montreal. I think still to this day. I'm not sure. But yeah,
that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah,
that's one hell of a career change.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, not to get off the rails here. I used to be a DJ.
It's your rails, man.
Okay. I used to be a DJ back in the day of like video game music and like classic rock. Probably the best job I like ever had. Cause like really what the place cares about, just you filling the room, right? Like the video game DJing wasn't that successful because like this was before, you know, you had esports bars and like just nerd culture everywhere. This is like way before that. So I'd have like a select few people.
The dark ages.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, those are dark ages for sure. But like the classic rock DJing, that was pretty successful. So like basically like you go to a bar and you just put on whatever music you like and get like blackout drunk, and then they pay you. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, not blackout drunk, but like,
but close enough.
They don't care just as long as like everything's good. You know what I mean? You know, they just keep on feeding you with free drinks. They're just like, oh, here, yeah, there's a lot of people here. If there's not a lot of people there, they're like, okay, let's, you know,
let's dial it back a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're paying for your own stuff there, buddy.
I know.
Yeah.
I understand. I used to actually, I haven't practiced in ages, but I used to be in a band too.
Oh, nice.
I'd go around and like, if it was a good night and we'd go to certain places, you would have to sell your own fucking tickets. And most of the time it would just be like, I'm just going to buy all the tickets and then hope people buy them from me.
Yeah.
So you keep getting invited back.
Yeah. Well, like,
And,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and most of the time, if we didn't get enough people in there, they'd be like, yeah, those free drinks, we could do 50% off.
Yeah. Like there's some promoters that have like the model, like this sort of battle of the bands model where they make you buy all the tickets anyways. And like that kind of sucks to a certain degree because like when you're doing a battle of bands like that doesn't mean like anyone's having a good show necessarily, because like you want to get an idea of what the show is going to be like by the ticket sales, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because at least you're like, okay, we know this many people are coming. Whereas like the Battle of the Band stuff, it's like, okay, well, this many people bought tickets, but like we don't know how many people are actually coming. Like people, like since you bought all the tickets, you might not have gotten rid of all of them and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I hated doing that because you always had to prey on your friends and be like, what you doing Saturday?
Yeah.
What's going on?
No, that's such a crazy moment of I used to remember friends that ask me, it's like, okay, can I get like a guest list spot? And I'm like, okay, well, can you bring like 2 people or like 5 people? And they're like, sure, sort of reluctantly. And I'm like, am I being the asshole? No, wait, they're being the asshole. They're getting something for free.
Yes.
Or I might be the asshole. I don't know. Like, it's
well,
such a hard position to be in.
Yeah, I get it, because otherwise they know you'd be floating around like every weekend.
Yeah.
Coming back for more.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just the way it goes with that kind of setup. And you're right, that stuff sucks. That's why I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I know. Like you get to a certain point in playing music where stuff like that is going on, and it's hard to know what to do from there, because like although people are seeing you for the new or for the first time, but like at the same time, like
right,
risk versus reward on those types of things. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because I know that you don't have a lot of time. You're a busy dude, but
yeah,
when you get a chance to sit down and you get a chance to game, not me mansion, but just gaming, just chill.
Yeah.
What do you play, man? What do you play?
Okay, well, like recently, my wife and I have been playing Stardew Valley co-op.
Oh, yeah.
And like that's one of those games where like I don't want to do it. It's sort of like Minecraft. Because like it'll take up a lot of my time. And like I get really meticulous and interested about things like that. But yeah, no, it's been pretty fun. Like I knew it would be super fucking fun, but I'm not as worried that it's like that time consuming, because it is just a thing you pick up, you do a couple of days, and then you're like, okay, I've had enough of this. But then, you're thinking like the next day or 2 days, you're like, okay, I can pick this up again, and this is a pleasant experience. My wife is like actually playing the game for the game, where she's like, oh, well, there are people you can talk to in the town, and you can do this and you can do that. And I'm like, hey, I'm just out here like making my farm, like, just I have like 1 million crops, and it takes me until the end of the day to water them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, I'm just here making money. But
hey, if you get far enough, you'll be able to get all the crops watered on their own, but you'll have a new problem. You'll start wanting to make like a ton of wine, and that's all you'll be doing, just making wine all the time.
Okay, well, yeah, that's
Starfruit wine, man, the cream of the crop.
Okay, like that's the one thing. Like, there's always that little thing that you want to do next in Stardew Valley, and it doesn't like push it on you, but it definitely is like, hey, there's this other thing you can do now, and you're like, all right, I'll give that a try out.
Yeah, Stardew is a game that invites you to keep coming back and just trying out more and more stuff. It's a solid game.
Yeah. And then on like going actually back to Minecraft, like AJ, me mansion convinced me to do Minecraft. And so we like started a Minecraft server that we've been doing online every here and there. And like,
Mhm.
once again, it's one of those things where I'm like, I shouldn't do this. It's going to take up too much of my time. But like, I don't know, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But just as long as I cut myself off and I'm like, I want to build this huge fucking thing, right? But I have to like mine into the earth and get all this shit and then like smelt and bake, yeah, and you know, whatever new shit. But like, just as long as you keep it in check, it's fine. But yeah, but no, that was, I'm super glad we have a meme mansion Minecraft server. And then aside from that, I don't know, like I've been playing like a lot of stuff on like Game Pass. Um just like random things, I guess. Which is like Game Pass, like I don't want to simp for it because like normally I'm a Nintendo guy, but like it does have a
Same,
tremendous
same.
value. But I had a couple game developers on the stream the other day and they were talking about, it's like normally it's like for the developers it's a buy-in. So Microsoft gives you so much money and they're just like, okay, that's how much we're going to pay you. But there's no residuals off of that. So I don't know how much people, like if your game goes like viral on Game Pass, like you don't see that money. But at least if your game bombs on Game Pass, you see that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. Plus, anymore, a lot of people, and you and I both know this because I know you're a big Switch guy.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I see you on there all the time.
I'm a big Nintendo guy in general, so yeah.
Yeah. So I can say, especially for me, if there's a game I find on Game Pass or whatever, and it's really good, but I know that I really can't take it on the go with me, I'll just buy it again on the Switch.
Yeah. Well, like that's it. Like, I don't know what about the Switch does it for you. Like, how do you play the Switch normally? Like, what is your normal Switch playing circumstances?
For me, it's almost always handheld.
Yeah.
It's usually that because if I'm not streaming here, some people, hey, if you're meeting me for the first time, I went into government after leaving news, so I do a lot of overtime. I don't have a whole lot of time. I really don't. So I want to spend as much time with my fiance as I want. That leads to Switch and handheld mode. I even upgraded to the OLED model just to get that nice, crisp picture.
How is it? Is it that much of an upgrade? People keep on telling me, they're like, James, you like the Switch, you should do it. Is it
I think it's brighter, but here's what I'll tell you. I've got to wear these glasses here. And with the old one, before I got the glasses, I was struggling. Even with the glasses, it was a little sometimes. But now that I've got that bigger screen and the brighter screen, it's fine. I'm sitting pretty now, man.
No, that's totally good. I think I'm gonna wait to pick one up because like I'm happy with my Switch experience right now, totally. But like, but yeah, I normally play it in handheld mode because like I'm a dad, so like I always have to be like, you know, I can't like sit down at a TV. I always got to be somewhere, you know. And so I'll have that like little moment where I'm like, all right, you know, I have some time, and then I'll be like, okay, gotta put it away, right? Whereas like if I have a console that's hooked into a TV, turn the TV on, turn the console on, you know, and then you can't bring the TV and the console into another room, you know.
Right.
And also like with like music, you travel a lot. So like boom, you know, being on a
Switch.
plane, being in the airport, you know, Switch is king on that. Like, you know, you see a lot of people in the airports, you know, sitting there on their Switch. So yeah.
I know cloud gaming is starting to take off a little bit. I mean, a lot of people give me shit for Stadia, but it works. Xbox is slowly catching up to Stadia. But like the one thing you just said that just makes both of them dead in the water and Switch still wins is an airplane.
Airplane. Yeah. No, that's it. You know, you're like, it's still not the most convenient because like when you're sitting next to someone on an airplane, you can't do this, right? But like you can still go like this and put it on your tray table or, you know, whatever.
I mean, you could do that, but you're not gonna make friends that day.
That's true. Well, how is Stadia? Like I was at game developers convention, GDC, when they announced it. I was there when they announced it. and like everyone was like looking around at each other like, are they fucking crazy? But like but like if someone's gonna pull it off, it would be, Google, right? Like they have the
Yeah.
power to do that. But yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
they definitely do.
Yeah.
It really does work. I think
Mhm.
when I was trying to explain it to a friend and he wasn't convinced, I was at like a Chinese restaurant and I was sitting there with him and he just said, I think you would need like faster internet for this thing to work, right? I said, no, man, I'll show you. Pulled out my phone, pulled out the controller, and of all things, I pulled up Cyberpunk on it. I said,
Really?
just
You pulled
watch
it.
it. I said, watch it. You tell me if you see anything fucked.
Yeah.
It was fine. I mean,
Really,
Cyberpunk's fucked, but yeah.
You're like, no, the shit that's already fucked, that's just part of the game.
Yeah, that's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah. But like, yeah, yeah, well that's it. Like someone mentioned, while I was there, it's like it's all good for us to rationalize how inconceivable that technology is, but like we're not the cooks, you know what I mean? Like we don't
Right.
actually know how that technology works. So it's hard for any general person to speak to it without knowing it. But yeah, it like is the input lag like noticeable at all, or
It sometimes if you're having issues with your internet, it can be just the biggest son of a bitch you've seen all day.
yeah.
Like straight up. But if it's a good day, like say you're out and like your 4G on your phone's doing fine, or your Wi-Fi in the house is okay while you're in bed and you don't want to like grab the switch or whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like we got just a little, shitty little laptop. I'm not gonna call it shitty. I mean, it's brand new, but it's not a gaming laptop.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
thing is
Yeah.
not meant to run games. No. But I'm running like, for example, I'm running Cyberpunk on it. I can run like Dead by Daylight on it.
Cool.
I
See,
can run all sorts of stuff.
that's where the big advantage would be if it was mass adopted, that technology, you know what I mean? Like, so
Mhm.
yeah. Um just on a hardware side, because like hardware is expensive for people, you know what I mean? That could be the thing that propels PC gaming, from it being like I have a 3070 in this computer, and like that cost me like a fucking shit ton, and
Right.
like that's a huge ask. Like that's a lot more than a console would cost, etc., etc. But like if you have some extra processing power through like cloud gaming, like that would open it up to a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it cuts out the middleman entirely. Like, I'm getting that big, beefy PC power. I didn't pay for it. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have to spend that kind of money on the PC power.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah. That being said, like 30% of the world has reliable internet, so like it's still like a ways off from being like a common
Oh, it's
person
nowhere.
thing.
Yeah, it's nowhere near feasible yet, but we're
Yeah.
we're trucking there. We're getting there.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you something that is big for me.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring you into my realm real quick.
Oh shit.
Game collecting. How do
Okay.
you
Yeah.
feel? Do you have a big collection? What's your favorite thing in your collection?
Okay. I do a big collection. When and it was like everywhere in my house, and when my wife was pregnant, we were like making more room, so we
Mhm.
put most of my stuff out in the garage, which makes just sense because like you need more room for like baby and having a child, and also like just putting it on display. I don't know, it wasn't like it wasn't doing anything for me. And like when I have people over, it's like, oh, check out this thing, and they're like, yeah, cool, whatever. you know so
Right.
personally it was becoming less of a thing. Like I still have satisfaction like knowing that it's there. um but yeah, I have a lot of NES games. I have a lot of Super Nintendo games. I have a lot of N64 like in box.
Ooh.
And then I don't know. So like probably like I don't know. There's so many things that are the crown of. I would say I have a Mario Brothers like Game and Watch, like the fold out.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, like from back in the day. So it's got like battle damage on it and shit like that, and it still works. Um, that's pretty
It's
cool.
funny you mentioned that because over if anybody's watching and you can see where I'm pointing on here, over at my Nintendo shrine, you see in the corner, I
Yeah.
have a Mario versus Donkey Kong hockey gaming watch still in
Mhm.
box. Paid like
That's fucking cool.
$25 for it, and it's worth like close to 200.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
like getting those deals, like I know since I like left actively like buying games, like stuff has changed now. Like drastically, like stuff has grown in value and like it's all very controversial and stuff. I don't know like that much about what's been going on the last 2 years, but like there was something that I was always sourcing out and I was always trying to find a good deal for it. And it's Metal Warriors for the Super Nintendo. I don't know if you know about that.
yes,
Okay, Metal Warriors fucking like awesome game. But like it's also very rare because I guess it was very under promoted. It's a LucasArts and Konami game, which you think would be like badass. It's got um robot mech warriors. It's a side scroller and like it's it had like multiplayer, like a really good multiplayer like way before multiplayer was really big.
right.
Um and yeah, so just the fact that it's rare, but like it's also a good game that I wanted to like collect it, but like I've been going around trying to find it at a good price. And at one point during this one convention I did, and I think it was like Syracuse, um
Oof.
like someone found that one of the buyers had it and they said, James, come over. Like they will sell it to you for like 100 American, and it's like 300 American. That's the going price right now. And I was like, oh fuck, okay. But then I'm thinking like it took me money to come down here to Syracuse because we had to drive with like friends, and then you at conventions, even if you're guests, you spend more than you think because you're like eating, and you go out for drinks with people you want to hang out. That all ends up costing money. And then, although like I'm selling stuff, like, did I come here to spend 100 American on a thing? And I said no. And I regret that now because
Oh,
like I just should have fucking done it. But at
I
this,
was wanting you to go the opposite
I
direction on
know.
that.
Well, no, that's the thing I regret
Ah,
every day. But like, what if, what if this? Well, what if I just got a repro cart and like just
oh.
hold on, and just put it like really far away, and like just down the hall and be like, hey, look at my copy of Metal Warriors. And people be like, oh, nice. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, let's move on. Let's not talk about.
Don't look.
Yeah, don't
Don't
look.
look too hard. Now it
Because
ignore
sell it to them,
ignore the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the story behind that one. Some people who follow me on social media knows. Unfortunately, when my fiance and I were going through like our Game Boy and GBA games, we were looking everything. The copy of, I think it was Ruby, Pokemon Ruby, was looking a little weird. It was Black Cart, and somebody's like, "Why is your Ruby Black Cart?" I said, "Well, fuck." I looked at different pictures online and said, "I think this is a repro."
Oh
Looked on the
man.
back, it said Nintendo. Definitely a repro. Fuck. But that's just how it goes sometimes, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially when something's really rare, or especially like when you got something like back in the day and you bought
Hmm.
it from like just a random game store, like that was like the Wild West, whatever. Like, and you probably would have never noticed, if you got like a bootleg or something like that. So like, it's all right. It is what it
Or
is. Just as
or
long as you
back in
didn't.
like the days of Nintendo when they would just hand you like bootleg carts like Big Nose's Adventure, then you have to
Mhm.
flip the switch and shit like that.
Yeah, well, you didn't question it. It was all like there was no authentic back then,
It's a video
You're like,
game.
"Oh, that cart is blue. I don't care." Like, whatever. I guess they just made a blue cart.
They got adventurous that day.
That's all magic to me. you know.
Let's see. We're running out of time here, and I want to get to everybody else's
Yeah,
questions
that's
as they
well,
pop
no,
to you.
I can stay on a bit longer for sure. So like I'm okay. All right, I'll let you know if I have to go after like 10, if that's all right. Or like
Okay.
totally up to you. Like this is your gig.
Oh, we'll
All
just
right.
keep on cruising.
All right.
Uh, I'm gonna go with this one here and see how you feel, because a lot of people, when it comes to like you and me, we're collecting a lot of retro games, like
Mhm.
you said, big
Yeah.
NES and S collection, everything like that. I'm exactly the same. Some people think that the games aren't that good and we're just holding on to nostalgia. What do you say to that?
Well, see, that just depends on, I guess, your frame of mind, but like or like when you started gaming too. Like that's a super hard question cuz like um old school NES games, they're like trying to capture like that arcade type of style, or like that was the development process they were going off of. It's like people want it to be super hard, in which people actually kind of did, want that challenge. Where is in fact like they really wanted to like rob quarters from you, but like people stepped up and that just became the norm with arcades, and that transferred into the NES days.
Mhm.
But like some of like the key game design philosophies come from the NES, Super NES, like that whole day. So I would substantially disagree, and I would say like it just depends on what you want from a video game. Like a lot of game developers like set it at like um it's like what do you want your challenge to be? Or they just like they let you choose what type of game do you want to play, and if they can still like tell the story and make a game out of it, like why not do it in any way people want to play. But um like the old school games, I wouldn't say they're poorly designed at all, unless you know there are a lot of poorly designed NES and SNES games, but like
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde?
yeah, yeah, exactly. We were talking about AVGN, we could like go through like hundreds of them, but like you can right now like you can go through, okay, so there were like 10,000 games released on Steam this year. Probably go through around like 90% of those maybe aren't fabulous, aren't like game of the year, contenders too. um but like yeah, going back to like key game design like moments of like are these games any good, like let's talk about like Super Metroid. um like the game that like launched as genre, and like people still hold true to how Metroid games are made. Even like Metroid Dread does exactly what Super Metroid did, or like locking certain places off as you progress, just to make you like keep you on track, but also make you feel like you are searching around. Um, but yeah, so I would
Yeah.
say I don't know. I thoroughly enjoy old games. I still play old games. They always have value. I don't know if that fully answered that question. That's a hard question to answer.
I think you knocked it out of the park. A lot of people in chat are definitely piling in and giving some really good answers too.
Nice.
I mean, I would tell everybody, I'm stuck in the past because those are solid games.
Yeah.
I'd tell anybody that my favorite Zelda is Link to the Past, and
Yeah.
that's not going to change. It's just
Same.
not.
Same here. Yeah,
So,
Link to the Past. I know a lot of people who like OT is their favorite Zelda, but like I guess that's just like we were born at different times, because they're like generally like younger people. Uh
right. I've
who
noticed
feel
that too.
yeah. But like I still think that's a really good game, but I would
Yeah.
still
Oh
say
yeah.
Link to the Past, like back in the day, felt like how Breath of the Wild is now. You were sort of like, "Oh my god, I can go everywhere and do everything."
Yeah, exactly. It's that step ahead that you didn't think was possible, especially after Zelda 2, then
Yeah.
going to Link to the Past, fucking mindfuck.
Yeah.
Exactly what that is.
Yeah. I used to call in sick to school so much to play Link to the Past when it came out. It was like I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sick. Oh my god." Like the thermometer against a light bulb and like all this bullshit. My mom was a huge gamer too, so she was like, "Oh yeah, sure." Like, she's like,
Mm.
"All right, well, I'm gonna sit here and watch you play then."
Just tell mom I'm sick today. I'm sick again and shit.
Yeah.
uh, what do you think? YouTube versus streaming?
Um, well, I would say which is better or like
What's your preference and why?
well, like they're two different things. Sometimes I don't like going back and watching a live stream like ADGQ. I like to watch it at the moment. It's not as good if it's already happened, but like YouTube does have its place, but I'm definitely not satisfied with YouTube a lot because it's like really in your face about, just like here's this new like it's trying to distract you away from looking at your like subscriptions, and stuff. They're just like, this is what's generating the most watch time. Um I don't know. I kind of like Twitch, but at the same time, I don't know. I watch a lot of science videos on YouTube. I don't know. That's a really hard question. But like one thing that YouTube is trying to stray away from actively, which I'm kind of glad, is trying to keep people on for like super long periods. Cause back in like the YouTube heyday, when they were like, oh, well, people are watching like 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. And they're like, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's advertising numbers we can sell to people. But like, people shouldn't be watching anything for that long. Like that's
No, they
crazy.
really shouldn't.
That's more than a job. You know what I mean? And that's why you get like people obsessed with like certain like weird fringe things. I won't get into that, but like that's why that stuff happens. Because when someone consumes something for so long, it's like they're just like staring at a screen for 10 hours. That can't be good for your brain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that's why Twitch is different. Twitch does a lot of stupid things too, but like when you have two companies that massive, it's hard not to, when you're like controlling huge like people's viewing habits and huge amounts of data and viewers. Like I can't even pretend to be in that situation. But yeah,
Right.
I used to go to like YouTube classes, and like I would get to talk to like people from YouTube, and it seems like YouTube didn't really know what's going on. So, you know.
They don't understand their own algorithm. Wow.
Yeah, well, it's so like there's so many people watching things, and
Mm.
like okay, so for like if you click on a YouTube video, there's 8 million data points that's going to recommend you the next video. So that's inconceivable for a human to understand. So they
Right.
can just look at analytics and just assume things, but really it's like out of their control almost, you know?
Oh, I could absolutely believe that. There's just when you think of how many videos are being uploaded daily, and then you start thinking about the data points of all that.
Yeah.
Anybody who comes along and tells you, "I've got the answer in my book," they're just
100%.
trying to sell you a book.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, yeah. So that's one other thing, as you brought up, how much like stuff is uploaded. Like, there's like a year's worth of content uploaded like every like half an hour or something like that. You think about like most of YouTube is dead, is getting no views, like 90% of it. I think it was back when I was taking classes, like 5% was over 10,000 views. Like that's crazy. That like I don't even know how they maintain servers like that, but like
Yeah.
they do.
Yep, I'm part of the dead in the water crowd.
I hear
So
that. EpicGameMusic jumps in and out. It's like because like I have a following, but like I just with how stuff works right now, you have to really knock it out of the park for it to like come back up. Even if you have subscribers, like subscribers don't matter anymore. But like they will get recommended if something starts to pick up traction on people's viewership. So it will like give it to all your subscribers if it's really well received with some people, I guess. I don't know. That's the easiest explanation of it.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and turn over to the questions that people have sent over because my
All right.
God, we've had a lot of people send some questions over.
Yeah. No, that was really interesting. I don't know how I'll be able to answer some, but let's see.
Well, you're in the hot seat, James.
Here's the hot seat.
Here it goes. So first one we have from Daniel Greenberg.
Yeah.
He asks, we've seen lots of innovation over the last few years with game visuals. What neat directions would you like to see game audio take?
All right. So like that's I've been kind of like I saw that. I was trying not to look at the questions, but like that one I just saw.
Mm.
Daniel Greenberg, game developer, gaming journalist too, Twitch streamer as well. But yeah, like that's tough. Game audio is so vast and has so many different approaches. Like AAA audio. Like if I were to compose a game for AAA audio, I would have to like either mock something up and then give it to an arranger. They'd arrange it, they do it in notation, send it back to me, and then I'd correct the mistakes, and then they would send it out to an orchestra, right? And I have to be present at the orchestra, make notes, and then I'd like filter down my notes and then go back to the orchestra and then come back, and like if I'm not the mixer, someone else has to mix it, and then like it's a huge bloated process. Then indie games, um, that's pretty finalized from what you're doing. Um, you just speak to the developer one on one, and like you probably use, if you're doing sound design, you use a program like Fmod or something like that. But it's like like there's no consistency in how game audio is. So like that's such a impossible question. If there's trends I'd like to see less of, it's like less stereotypical like orchestrated stuff, cuz like orchestra is an easy way to convey emotion. I guess I would like to see people use more unconventional things. I'd also like because like clearly like stuff is going like a more VR route, although it's not like super popular yet. So like doing like 3D audio, like binaural audio.
Hmm.
I like to see some more interesting stuff in that. Because most of it is more about like sound effects. Whereas like someone dropped something over there, so I hear that there. I'd like to hear some more interesting like arrangement with the music using a 3D space. I actually have a couple of plugins that I've been like working on stuff like that with of because like normally when you hear sound for anything, it's just like left and right, and the combination of the two makes the center. Whereas like a lot of these things, you triple that. Um, so like if it wouldn't be a music industry standard, but it would be like if someone's going to make that a standard, it would be video games, and that would be cool to hear like a lot of crazier stuff. Even if it's like a side scroller, that would be like pretty nuts to hear, like let's just say a guitar happened back here and like the bass happened over here, and maybe they move. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I
Okay,
like
so
that idea.
all right. Yeah, that's just me snowballing, but like that's such a hard question. That's like the hardest question, but that's my best answer, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I should point out really quick for anybody who doesn't know that you've actually been published in some games. You've done the soundtrack for quite a few different games now.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I can't talk about right now, which I would like to,
Oh,
and
oh.
that would be really good. But yeah, so the takeover, I was on that soundtrack with Yuzo Koshiro, who you may know from like ActRaiser and
Hmm.
Final Fight. And yeah, Burning Souls is another game that I'm still working on the soundtrack for that. And yeah, so and there is others, but yeah, Um, yeah, that's one of the things I do. That's one of like my career shifts. Unfortunately, like I wish I could name more of this stuff, but like it's still pending. So look forward to it.
There you go. Anybody's wanting to check that out, make sure you follow everything this man is doing. That way, you'll be in the know. I also want to gush about you just a little bit more really quick because I forgot to mention this at the start. You were actually nominated for an award in Canada before. I can't
Yeah.
recall if you won it.
I did not. So
Oh,
I was nominated for content creator of the year at the Canadian Game Awards, which is like that was fucking like I don't know why, but I was like out of all the content creators, it was Linus Tech Tips that won it, which totally deserves it. Like that, like
oh,
that's a huge
Liveness is
deal.
good. Yes.
Wait, oh yeah, well all the other channels were super massive, and then there was me, and I'm like, hi, like I'm just here. But that was a fucking honor, dude. That was surreal. Like even I had a like a stream on me mansion with it where like I was like wearing a suit now just in case I won the award or whatever. But like, I figured if they hadn't, because it's pandemic rules, I figure if like they hadn't told me that I wouldn't want it, but just in case.
Just
Um,
in case. Gotta be there, gotta look slick.
but yeah, someone really likes what I do, and someone nominated me, and like a lot of people checked out my stuff, and it was really really well received. So yeah, that was great.
Next question we have here, I think this comes from your partner in crime, Applejuice22.
Oh yeah.
Is asking, since becoming a father, what changes has James made with his creative process? Does he find that style-wise, what he makes has changed at all?
Yeah. Well, like I think my entire life changed when that happened. So it couldn't not change it. But like if I do anything, I think like it can't be like wishy-washy. It has to be done with decisiveness. Um because like I'm limited on time. Not too much, but like definitely to the point where like when I do something, I have to make it count.
Mhm.
Um so like that definitely makes me do things with renewed energy and with more thoughtfulness, you know. Given like I I I do experiment with stuff, but like I have the foresight that it has to be a finished product at a certain point. Like I have to deliver things. And that's been with my entire life since like my son was born, is like everything has to be um meaningful almost. I don't know. That's not the right word, but everything has to be with reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So like that's a hard question to answer too. Like
Right,
I could go
right.
on for hours about that. And like
So it's like everything has to have a beginning, middle, and end for you to take it.
yeah, exactly. I don't want to be those people who has a kid and they're sort of like, well, stuff's more important when you have a kid, which like isn't the case, but you have to like, if you have a kid, you do have that extra, thing, you know, that extra factor in your life, right? So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yep, gotta be a dad.
Yeah,
It's
gotta
important.
be a dad.
All right, Sean here wants to know what video game soundtrack made you realize that video game music is more than just beeps and boops?
Mm, I would say, ooh, like the first video game soundtrack to do that, either Mega Man 3 did that
Great
for me.
choice.
Yeah. Link to the Past is also good.
Also excellent.
Super Metroid, but like
Mm-hmm.
ultimately I'm like I'm going to have to go with like Final Fantasy 4. That's like my fucking favorite game. But
Ooh.
like that also made me think a lot about uh music just in general, cuz I wasn't musical back then cuz I was such a little kid, but I would like, you know, not do anything and just listen to the music sometimes, you know. And it go to a different area and just listen to the music. Uh and it made me think about like music functionally, sort of, I guess. Like music could do things or make you feel things. And that was that's that was super important to me. And like I wanted to be a part of music for a long time. Like my mom was in bands and stuff, but like she tried to dissuade me from like being a musician because like you know like being a musician's hard. So
Oh
she's
yeah.
like, all right, and I was really interested in science, so she's like, do science for the love of God, do science. I'm like, okay, but like there's always something beckoning me to music. And yeah, I don't know. It was Final Fantasy 4 that really made me want to like do something with that. Um, and then yeah, I ended up playing the trombone, and I suck shit at it, uh, for like many years, and I got frustrated, and then I played a guitar, and it all made sense from there.
Gotta have your instrument of choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I always start with guitar and then in the bass. I
Oh
couldn't
yeah.
imagine like trying to play a viola.
Oh yeah. Well, no. The classical instruments are like so ridiculous too. They're so unintuitive. Like, a guitar is like chromatic. You have like notes going this way and notes going this way. Makes sense, right? Like trombone, you have first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. So like, how does that make sense? Like first note, second note. Like, fuck off.
Frankie wants to know what's your favorite game soundtrack, and also if you want to name your biggest musical influence.
Oh fuck. Okay, so like game soundtrack. Once again, Final Fantasy 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you just look at the sheer scope of that soundtrack, like that's like 100 like songs, like that's crazy. And like to perform to that degree, like that's insane. Um and then I guess like maybe like Chrono Trigger is pretty good.
Oh,
Uh
Chrono Trigger's amazing.
yeah, it's hard to like even if you like don't like Chrono Trigger, you can at least admit the soundtrack's like fucking fire. Like, and it's super unconventional too. It's a super weird soundtrack. But it's just that hot. Person who did it like put themselves in the hospital. They were working on that soundtrack so hard. And I think that really like that really comes across. Mario 3 is also pretty good. As far as like really good soundtracks. What was the second part of that question? It was
Biggest musical influence.
I would say that's tough. Well, my mom was a musician, but like she just let me like do my own thing. Because like also like I was also listening to a lot of hip hop and stuff like that when I first started to play a guitar and stuff like that. So she was just like, all right, she's like listening to like Guns N' Roses and stuff like that, and I'm like totally on a musical vein. So like she just let me grow in my own. As far as music, like I would say like probably like Pink Floyd is my favorite band. And influences like when I make an album the most, just their sensibilities or a lack of sensibilities of what how you should flow an album. Because it's pleasantly unconventional. That it always ends, even if it falls flat on its face, it's something interesting that you tried something new and you might come up with something special, even though you're doing it differently. I guess I don't know.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I would say like if I had to answer that question, you might know this individual because I mean he's a I don't know if he's a Canadian superstar, but he's a star in Canada. Devin Townsend.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah.
Love Debbie.
Yeah. No, Devin Townsend's really good. Like I love Devin Townsend. I'm not a big like Devin Townsend fan, as in like like I enjoy when people put on Devin Townsend, which is like a lot of my friends, I'll say. But like I'm not like the guy who's like, all right, it's Friday night, put on Devin Townsend. But like Devin Townsend is like super fucking creative and like is super amazing, and also same vein in progressiveness is like Pink Floyd, where always something interesting.
Always something interesting, even if it misses the mark. Like When oh god, I can't remember the name of the album he put out in '09, but he was like, I'm gonna put out a pop album and I'm gonna show Nickelback how it's done. That was not a pop album, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what that was, but it wasn't a pop album.
Yeah.
It kind of fell flat, but it was still cool.
Speaking of which, like writing pop music, although people are like, "Oh, it's super easy. You just come up with like something catchy." Like it's super hard to do. Oh my god, coming up with something that like millions of people will just be like, "Yeah, that's my jam," is like one of the hardest things you can do in music. But yeah, just on a
Yeah.
side note.
I know I couldn't do it. I know I've never done it, and probably
Yeah,
not
exactly.
gonna do it. That's for somebody else to do, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lisa wants to know. Oh, I want to know this too. Your favorite robot master. I mean, Lisa says she already knows, but I want to know.
Okay, well, if it's the Lisa, okay, yeah, okay, it's not Lisa. Yeah, I think like her favorite robot master is Metal Man, which is not mine. Mine's either Elec Man or
Ooh.
Snake Man. This is just based off the music. Fuck their
Mm.
abilities. You know, I always Buster only all of the robot masters anyways, but yeah, I would say if I'm gonna choose right now, I'd say Elec Man.
I'm glad you mentioned that you chose it because of the music, because mine's Bubble Man.
Okay, Bubble. That is also really amazing music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love every cover I can get a hold of with that song. It's so fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I've done a bubble. No, I haven't done a Bubble Man. I haven't done a Metal Man either. But like, I don't know. There's time. You know.
Next album, Robot Masters.
Well,
Hmm?
it's been 3 years since I've done a Mega Man album, so maybe I'm due for one.
I think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in chat, if you think he's due for one, you tell him. You get on the Twitter machine, you tell him right now.
Yeah.
Jonathan wants to know, do you have a beard? Because your mutton shops wanted to hug one another.
Well, yeah, that's it. I used to have like when I was younger, I used to have like a chronic this didn't exist. So like my face looks like this with just the mutton chops. But yeah, I'm definitely satisfied with my beard choice. My wife's never seen me without a beard. So she's always like, I'm always curious. I'm like, you don't want to see it. Once when my band we were on a radio show doing a fundraiser, and I actually shaved my beard live on the
Oh
radio because
no.
someone donated like $200, which is like a low amount for like a life changing thing. Keep in mind this is like 15 years ago, but like I realized I was on the fucking radio. Like I could have just made like noises and they would have, you know. I didn't have to shave it.
Could have just Del Gribbled it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I am shaving.
Exactly.
I am shaved. All right. Well, man, that is all the questions everybody sent. We made through it. We got it.
We did it.
We did it. Wow. So that's going to wrap this one up.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I want to thank you for coming on here and being the first guest to bring this back.
Oh, probably no. That's a serious honor. Like no, I'm seriously honored by being the first guest back. So like, yeah, such an institution.
Yeah, because for anybody who wasn't here when I first started this, I was talking about how I've always done this as like a 2 or 3 person show. I've never done like the whole invite guests on and ask questions thing. So when I wanted to relaunch it, I wanted to tap into like some old Screw Attack folks and Rooster Teeth folks I knew, and I just wanted to come on and help everybody get to know them a little better and just have a nice conversation. And wow, this has been awesome. I am so fucking happy with this.
So too. Yeah, everyone, if they haven't, or they should, everyone in the chat should follow if they're not following right now. So
yes, you should follow James if you aren't following.
Follow.
No. We need you to follow James first. Where can I find you?
All right, let's do a follow fest. Well, yeah, let's start with, I guess, since we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/meme mansion, and then youtube.com/EpicGameMusic. And then I guess for Rex Viper, youtube.com/Cinemassacre. Man, I do too many things. And if anyone wants to be updated on like game music stuff, jamesronaldmusic.com. And then I'm on Spotify. Man, I do too many things. I'm on Spotify and all the various other like Apple Music and stuff like that. So
you're a busy man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you can't slow down now. Yeah. This man's career is blowing up.
Yeah.
So if you want to jump on that gravy train while you have that chance and ride straight to the sun with him, now's the time. Go do it to the moon. We're a year late on that, but still, we can do it. Yeah, you should definitely jump on that wonderful chariot that he has built. We're going to the moon. Don't get left behind. But I'll go ahead and plug me too. Yeah, you can find me right below, right there. I can be found on Twitter at ResetPatrick. You're watching me right now. So anybody who has followed and subbed tonight, greatly appreciate that. You can also check out my YouTube videos at youtube.com/ResetPatrick. And if you want to be a part of the Reset Squad, it's really simple, guys. All you got to do is type in !Discord. You can pop into Discord. And we're doing all sorts of different things, including one old thing from Screw Attack. So if you were on the forums and you remember like the how many games can we finish in a year kind of thing, we're doing that again. So yeah, come check that out if that's seems like something you'd like to do. We talk about PC game building. We talk about game collecting. If you're a game fan, that's the place, man.
Yeah.
Show up. So I'm going to give this platform to you. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and seeing this. This was a buttload of fun. So like, yeah, make sure to come back every week. So there you go. Or like, are you doing it every week?
I am going to start doing it every week. Now, I have to say this, guys. I'm sure everybody was like, yeah, I like this guy. I'm not going to be around next week because there is an on-call system at my work, and I'm going to be on call. Okay. Which means I could be called in the middle of a show, and then womp womp, I'd have to leave.
Yeah.
So that's not good. But when I am able to come back, I've got a treat for you. So you may remember him from Screw Attack. He is a producer over at Rooster Teeth now. He is good old Brian. So Brian's going to be with us. After that, we have Chad James. You would probably know him from Death Battle. He is the voice of Boomstick. So I've got some guests lined up, and I'm talking to more people to come bring them into the hot seat.
Yeah.
Grill them. Demand that they speak.
Dude, like, Brian has some good stories. Chad has some fucking, like, ask that man some stories. Ask him, the keg story that we were just glimpsing over from,
oh, SGC, God.
I guess, before. But yeah, ask him about that.
Oh, yeah. Brian Baker is a great guy. The keg story, my God. That was a night. That was a night. Me Mansion, thank you so much. I appreciate that. He said super professional and still casual. Thank you. Appreciate that. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Again, thanks so much, everybody. That's been James Ronald. I'm Reset Patrick. Have an awesome night, everybody. Take care.